you've reached the Secret Project, and I have a few questions for you. What does freedom mean to you? And are you willing to fight for what you believe in?
I like this idea that you're attracted to the fight. Have you always been attracted to the fight? When did that begin? When did the fight in you begin?
Well, the fight begins when you're a child, doesn't it? I grew up in Detroit, Pontiac, mostly black neighborhoods, and then during the race riots, our family moved to a suburb.
I would love to know, like, what was this absolute moment that you wanted to make this statement and you wanted to make something that it's not a music video, it's not in support of
A product
or your career as we know it, but it's like an honest statement of how you see the world and your role in it.
Right. Well, I can't say the exact moment I wanted to make the film, but I can tell you that there were moments along the way that started to make me feel that I needed to make a statement, that I needed to say something about what I was witnessing. I think it started very specifically when my tour started. On this last tour, I started to notice things, and it was an amalgamation and an overabundance of things that were not nice, things that were not good, things that were signs that I felt like I should be paying attention to. The first concert we had was in Tel Aviv, and before we even arrived, there was the threat of war, of Israel bombing Iran, and that was a very real threat. And was the concert going to get canceled or wasn't it? Should we start the tour there? Should we not? You know, it was.
What did you end up deciding?
I said, we're going, we're definitely going. You know, the threat of war is not keeping me out of a country. Actually, it's an invitation. So,
well, the fight.
Exactly, the fight. It's a reoccurring theme. And then, of course, one had to examine what was going on in Iran, and it's frightening what's going on in Iran. A large part of my fan base is gay, and it's a crime punishable by death to be gay in Iran. And so that was something that was going through my mind, and you know, what can I do about this?
Do you have fans in Iran that have
Yes.
reached out to you?
Yes.
What's
I
that
do.
like? Do you engage with them?
I don't engage with them personally, but I read what they have to say,
Yeah.
and you know, I read what a lot of my fans who are being put in prison for being gay, not just in Iran but around the world. It breaks my heart, and the idea that a person would be killed for who they love is it's something I can't. I could start crying if I think about it. So let's not go down that road. Let's go to Russia, because Pussy Riot was on trial.
Right.
I was trying to decide whether I should go to the courthouse and start stage a protest or whatever. But I mean, that whole scenario was absurd too. That these three
It's insane,
girls
that story,
were
right?
put in this cage and put on this monkey trial, and for singing 30 seconds of a song that basically said that Putin was oppressing artists and women, and a hypocrite, and aligning himself with the church when he wasn't a man of God himself, or whatever. I mean, whatever they said, even if they called him the devil, they have to go to jail.
Yeah.
I went to St. Petersburg, and I was told that if anyone showed any outward signs of being gay at my concert, that they would be arrested.
And these were police in St. Petersburg?
Yes, and statements in the press, and I was told...
Did you go on the offense? Did you...
I went on stage and I spoke in defense of the gay community, and I spoke against the government for this absurd law or reaction or kind of discrimination. And I was told that there were 87 arrests made that evening, and I was also sued for $1 million for making that statement. So then another situation occurred where I was in France, and in my concert I have a song called Nobody Knows Me. It's a video piece, and it's about how we don't really take the time to get to know one another, and because we don't take the time to get to know one another, we make all our decisions based on fear. And when we make our decisions based on fear, that's when we give birth to any kind of phobia, bigotry, hatred, discrimination, intolerance. So there was a flash cut of Marie Le Pen. She had been running in the previous election. She and her father are very far right. One might call them fascists. I, in fact, would myself, and I believe I would be telling you the truth. I had, for one split second, a cutout of her face with a upside-down swastika on her forehead. That is a symbol of fascism, even though, ironically, it was once a symbol of unity in India that Hitler hijacked and turned into something else. But because I showed her face with that symbol, she also threatened to sue me. She'd heard about it at a concert previous, and she said, if you show this when you come to France, I will sue you. But I showed it anyways, because I thought, wait a minute, I'm an artist. I can say what I want to say. Freedom of expression. This is my fight,
Again,
okay?
fight.
So the shooting of Malala was a big thing for me too.
Right.
A real big thing for me. That a girl would be shot for wanting to go to school.
Right.
That was her crime. That she wrote a blog about the importance of education for girls. That was another real bug up my ass, and that kept me going like crazy through the whole part of my European tour. You know, I spoke out a lot on her behalf and had her name tattooed on my back for a long time. So it got to the point where every time I was on stage, there was something going on in that city and I had to talk about it.
Right.
And implore the audience, my audience, because I'm imagining that people who come to my concerts are fairly open-minded individuals who don't think in a narrow-minded way, and imploring them to take my message out into the world of treating human beings with dignity and respect, no matter who they are, no matter what they believe in, no matter what their sexual preferences or their religious beliefs, etc., etc. So these things are all playing in my mind like a tape cassette over and over again. I'm going from city to city going, okay, this world is changing very rapidly, and I couldn't not pay attention to it. I can't just get on stage and do my show and go back to my hotel room and, you know, have my cup of tea and go to bed. It just wasn't going to work for me.
Do you think part of the problem is that a lot of your American audiences aren't as connected to those things that you describe seeing all over the world?
I think it's because when you can have whatever you want, you forget how lucky you are, and that you forget that it's not, you take it for granted, and you stop fighting for it, you stop caring about it, and so when elections come around, you're not inspired. And then I headed down to South America, and other sets of issues occurred.
What happened?
You know, there's a lot of corruption and a lot of poverty, and, you know, there are not favelas only in Rio. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
And we were in places like Medellin, and, you know, we were driving in cars that were very heavy and very slow, and I say, why is this car so heavy and slow? And they're like, guess it's a bomb-proof car. And I said, why are we driving in a bomb-proof car? And it's like, because you're a public figure, and, you know, everyone has guns here and bombs. And so then that became, you know, the sort of everywhere we went, bomb-proof cars. It's like the dial got turned up everywhere. Every place became more intolerant, more dangerous, more scary. But I had a crew, and I had Stephen, and I had to do something, and I had all of this fire inside of me, and so much to say and fight about everything that I had witnessed. So then I had my dancers, and I had the clothes, and we had the set, and we had this crew, and I said, Stephen, we're going to shoot something anyways. He said, what are we going to shoot? This is when the idea came into my head about artists expressing themselves, but I'm going to use the dancers, and we're going to use dance as a metaphor. And I'm saying, you can, and that's how we change. Drop by drop, inch by inch, one person adding up with another person. It is a fight that can be fought and won, but you know, a revolution has to happen, and we need role models, and we need people who are brave, and we need people to bring people together.
And fight.
And fight, yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for fighting for so long, and thank you for making this film and putting it out into the world.
My pleasure. And my pain.
Sorry, but the answer phone belonging to 07966454402 is full. It cannot accept any more messages. Please try again later. Goodbye.